Deep in the heart of the Piedmont Triad lies a pristine, protected, 376-acre preserve. Hearts and minds are opening wide as children and adults of all ages connect to nature and to each other. Piedmont Environmental Center welcomes you. Come outside and explore with us.
Piedmont Environmental Center was founded in 1972 by a group of individuals in the community that realized that people needed a place to spend time recreating with the natural world. Everything that is in nature is in us. We are nature. Piedmont Environmental Center manages 11 miles of hiking trails. Now that doesn't mean that you have to go out and hike for 11 miles. We have trails that are of different lengths. So depending upon how long you want to be out hiking, you can choose 1, 2, or 3 different trails that will give you a good experience in our 376-acre forested nature preserve. There are 2 main trails, one on the South Preserve, what we refer to as the South Preserve, and another main trail on the center's North Preserve. The main trail on the center's South Preserve is marked with white dots that guide the hiker along the trail, hopefully so that they don't get lost. That is known as the Bill Favor Trail. And Bill Favor was the first director of Piedmont Environmental Center in 1972. And Bill and his staff, with a lot of volunteer help, laid out a lot of the trails that actually exist today. And that trail is 1.8 miles and goes through a number of different habitats. The trail first starts off just off of the parking lot at Piedmont Environmental Center, and immediately the hiker is struck by the fact that there are Virginia pines still standing right at the very beginning of that trail. So you walk through a pine forest that is going through succession. Succession meaning just changing. And it is changing from a pine forest into a predominantly deciduous forest. And as you continue down toward the lake, you get into some mesic or moist areas that support a different kind of vegetation. Eventually that trail winds around and goes through an old home site that now is covered with kudzu, but you can still see some brickwork, you can still see some tin from the roofing material emerging up out of the kudzu that has taken that field over. And the Bill Favor Trail continues along, hiking, taking the hiker along shoreline for some views of High Point City Lake. So it is a 1.8 mile trail that will expose the hiker to a variety of different habitats typical of the Piedmont of North Carolina. The Deep River Trail, which is located on the center's North Preserve, is 4.6 miles, measured from Piedmont Environmental Center's Visitor Center down a section of the Bicentennial Greenway, and as you cross East Fork Road, you'll see the trail go off to the right. And so from here, it's 4.6 miles and comes back onto the Bicentennial Greenway, bringing the hiker back to the Visitor Center. The interesting thing about this particular trail is that it goes into perhaps older Piedmont forest, as well as skirting a section of pine forest that was planted in 1930. The Bicentennial Greenway is yet another trail that users of Piedmont Environmental Center have access to. This trail currently runs a little more than 9 miles, beginning at Piedmont Environmental Center and traveling north to just across Route 40. This paved trail is suitable for bicycles, hikers, runners, strollers, wheelchairs. It's just a great trail that provides access to open field environments as well as forested habitats. All of the trails at Piedmont Environmental Center not only go through different kinds of habitat types, but they will also take the hiker through old home sites and old road beds, features that existed here years and years and years ago.
classes at Piedmont Environmental Center are really in two divisions. We have the organized groups of school groups, and then we also provide programs for scouts, birthday parties, family reunions, church groups, and we can put those into one group. And then another group would be those public programs that we offer at the Environmental Center. Some are geared just towards children, some are geared towards adults, some are geared towards families. And in each one, there's a specific set of goals that we try to accomplish. In the school group programs, we have matched our programs with what the kids are learning in school. So what we did is we digested the curriculum and picked out those parts of the curriculum that teachers would have a difficult time with teaching in a classroom setting. And then we developed a 90-minute program to teach those concepts. We can build concepts with them. They come in these little molds of this little ball of clay, and we can actually mold them. And by the end of the week, they're showing the signs of spending time out in the natural world. Their behaviors begin to change. The objectives of our school programs is to invite the kids back and bring them back, whether they come back with mom or dad or grandpa, or they come back with a family, or come back with a scout troop. In the summer camps, one of the first things we do is to get them outside for longer than an hour. We don't hike a great distance. We're just getting them out onto the wildflower trail. We're immersing them in, for some of these kids, a brand new scene. One of the things we do when we catch a honeybee or a carpenter bee is we put it in a jug, a little peanut butter jar, and we have it. They hold it up to their ear, and they listen to the sound of the bug. And at first, they're nervous about bringing it up to their ear. And then, later on in the week, you notice them picking up even the silent bugs and holding them up near their ear, saying, "What does this one make?" And they start testing and exploring their environment with a little more enthusiasm. That's the attitudes and behaviors we are making a big difference with here. I guess you could say we see the world in two perspectives, really. One a scientific perspective, and the other a more artistic perspective. The classification, the identification of organisms, the arrangement of living things on the hillside, specialty organisms, the generalists. There's no collecting here at Piedmont Environmental Center, and often I explain to the folks that taking that little piece, that little hickory nut out and putting it in your pocket, that's a piece to the jigsaw puzzle that we don't understand yet. We don't have the full picture. So they're very glad to put it back because they want the puzzle to be put together. That's what we try to do here in our teachings. We try to allow that picture to be painted by providing the little details and the scientific method of classifying.
We explain that there are two ways to study nature. One is to go out and get it and turn over rocks and turn over logs and use binoculars to see the bird that's up in the tree, or to hike an hour and a half to get out to a specific habitat. One way is to go out and get it, and the other way is to sit back and let it come to you. In Godfrey's book, it says the Piedmont has either been plowed or paved. There isn't much of the original Piedmont left. But what's here really holds a lot of stories, both cultural and natural history stories. It was Rachel Carson that said if she could have the good fairy grant one thing to each child, it's a never-ending sense of wonder. When a child's mind is on a roll, that's when learning is best received. It's initiated in the child. It's not being dominated over and brought into the child. It's in the child turning around and spinning inside. And And for a lot of kids, it doesn't stop until it's answered. Show me is a lot. Make it do it. Well, we can't make it do it. You have to sit here and be patient until it does it. Oh. Yeah, that never-ending sense of wonder can lead the child from here to the far ends of the earth, or just out to the edge of its garden. And it takes a really strong person to really speak up for the environment. But we can go right to the teachings of a lot of American Indians who were the first naturalists here. That we come out of nature, not into it. The water cycle doesn't flow around us, it flows through us. The air doesn't move around us, it moves through us. And with just a bit of guidance, and again, it's not teaching because it's guidance, then every child would have a greener future.
The longleaf pine of the southeastern United States is probably the best known example in the eastern United States for a pine being fire adapted, meaning that they can withstand recurring fire and in fact depend upon fire for their regeneration. The loblolly pine forest here at Piedmont Environmental Center is burned about every 2 years, and by doing that we are able to maintain this loblolly pine forest. The tulip poplars, the sweet gums, the red maples, the sourwoods that are hardwood species and are not adapted to fire, in the absence of fire would eventually take this forest over. We have people say, well, what's wrong with that? And really there isn't anything wrong with that, except that most of the rest of Piedmont Environmental Center consists of a deciduous forest made up of oaks, hickories, sourwoods, sweet gums, and tulip poplars. And so by burning this area and maintaining this area as a loblolly pine forest, we are able then to encourage diversity here at the center so that a different variety of plants and animals can live out their lives here in this loblolly pine forest. We're standing in the Solar Heart Garden, which is the entry to the Naturalist Education Garden at Piedmont Environmental Center. Planning for this garden started in 1989 as part of a much larger master planning process. And the garden itself is designed as a sustainable teaching garden. For example, we harvest the rainwater off the roof, giving us 3,000 gallons of usable water at any given time. We've incorporated a lot of natural organic materials into the soil, amending the soil. And finally, we have used a lot of native plants which are adapted to the soils and climate of the Piedmont. And for the entire garden itself, we will be concentrating on native plants. Let's walk down the walkway into the circle of the fountain area, and you'll see that the circle represents the cross-section of a tree. We're planting gardens that will contain plants that early Europeans grew when they moved into the Piedmont. This garden is things that people can do in their own backyard, and it's part of the education mission of Piedmont Environmental Center. Everything that is in nature is in us. We are nature, and because we are nature, we have a proclivity to immerse ourselves in the natural world, and that actually has been referred to as biophilia in recent literature. Biophilia literally means a love of living, a love of life, and it's not just our life. It's all life. And Carl Sagan, the famous astronomer from Cornell, used to like to say, we are made of star stuff, which is exactly true. But closer to home, we are made of earth stuff. And we really need to have an identity with those things, those living beings, the plants and the animals with which we share the planet. And so by having Piedmont Environmental Center deliver classes and programs and activities, and Piedmont Environmental Center managing 376 acres of 11 miles of hiking trails, help all of us to identify ourselves with the natural world and help supply us with this need that we all have.